All right, everybody. We'll see you. Give it a minute here. Get some people get on here. So hope everybody had a good New Year. Hey, Sonia, good to see you. Frank, how's it going? I'll give it a few minutes here, let more people get on. And hey, Cody, how's it going, buddy? Carrie, how you doing? Hey, Roger. Ray, how's it going, brother? Ryan. See, Chris is on here. Good to see you, Chris. Hope you had a good holiday. Rich, how's it going? Stacy. Tim, how's it going, bro? Brandon. Dave. Hey, not much, Brandon. Just trying to bring this thing home. We got a lot of work to do ahead of us here in the next few weeks and next month. So, hey, Larry, how you doing? Lou. Hey, Amy. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Rich, how's it going, buddy? Long time no see. Hey, Martha. Eldon, how's it going? Hope things are going good down south. Hey, Ryder, how you doing? Yeah, I carry the debate. It's just, I guess I'll touch on a few things real quick before we get rolling here. But those of you that don't know, the government monitor scheduled another candidate forum for next Thursday, the 12th at 7 p.m. So there you can see it on YouTube and also the monitor's website. They'll actually record it also so people can refer back to it and watch it at a later date if you don't have time that night. But highly encourage people to get on and watch. Hey, Tim. Hey, Donald. How's it going? Hey, Brian. And also, ballots will be going out in the mail next Thursday, the 12th, the same day as the debate. So, always want to make sure people know that if they don't get a ballot, to be sure and call the monitor number to do that. Hey, Ryan, yeah, thanks for that comment, saying I'm sure you know, but Curry supporters on staff are at the local and putting out VIBA fear-mongering. So, yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of that on here. It's a shame, but it's just a sign of desperation. That's where they're at. The Curry campaigns and the Curry slate's pretty much shown, and the membership hasn't bought it, that, they're not in tune with the membership. They're not in tune with where we stand and with what needs to change. And so hopefully, the fear-mongering won't work, but that's what they have to resort to now because obviously their body of work doesn't fit with the members. And when you see what happened with this first election, it's pretty obvious the membership is rejecting it. So, but yeah, thanks for that comment, Ryan. I'll go ahead and get started here. But just want to touch on, hey, it's a new year. So with the new year, we come out with a new motto. So the motto for this year is going to be out with the old and in with the new. With the UAW, we need to look at change and change in the culture and also a change in the philosophy. Instead of the current culture of ruling from the top down and expecting everyone just to jump in line, our UAW Members United slate, intends to put the membership in control and lead from the shop floor up. That's what this is all about. That's what a union's all about. As a union, we have to do better than ever in doing this, at all levels. So basically, the way it runs now and the way the unions ran for years, there's this top-down mentality and it's like separate entities. You have the international, you have your local leadership, and you have the membership and the workers on the floor. And so, we have to get back to where at every level of this union, from the shop floor or the workplace to the local leaders, the international staff, we all have to be on the same page, and we all have to be moving and taking action together. So that's what our slate has been all about, and that's what our plan is as we go forward. And I see the comment on here, don't forget retirees. Hey, brother, retirees are near and dear to us, and don't doubt for a minute that they're not in the front of our minds. None of us would be here right now if it wasn't for the work of our retirees, and they deserve better. So the interesting thing, the Curry slate, the thing I've seen, in the last month or so after the elections, I mean, they've really amped up the rhetoric, the fear-mongering. And the one thing I've seen the Curry slate and their surrogates do, they keep claiming that we're making promises we can't keep. And the thing is, our promises we're making are this, that we're going to change this union with the membership. We have to get away from the tired company union philosophy. We have to bring back the things that our leadership failed with 2015 and 19 bargaining. Two of the best opportunities we've had to get things back for our members. Cost of living, ending tiers, helping our retirees out. The whole list. There's a litany of things. Job security language should have been brought back in. So the thing is, when we talk about those things, they speak like we're making promises and these are some far-fetched dreams, and they're not. But that is just a testament to their losing mentality, and that flows straight from the top. And all you got to do, is look at the last several years, whether during bargaining or when faced with challenges such as the current shift to EV, our top leadership will give you 1,000 reasons why we can't do something instead of looking at the one reason that's right in front of their face why we can. And it's a philosophy, and it's a losing philosophy, and it's a culture of can't do, and it has to be trashed. Just think about if the founders of our union had the same can't do attitude the Curry slate and the administration caucus has. The UAW never would have gotten off the ground. This union was born from a Great Depression, the worst of times, and it was due to determination of workers, that refused to be treated like shit anymore. They refused to accept mediocrity. Their fighting spirit wouldn't be denied. They dared to dream of a better way, and it was a mindset, of determination, and they were determined to stop worker abuse, and they had a will that they wanted a better life, not just for themselves, but for their children, for their future generations. It was important for them that they left it in a better place than they found it. And that's the sad reality, We can't say that anymore. We know we haven't, and the bottom line is it started at the top. And the bottom line, we've got to get better. We've got to get better. We got to eliminate leadership that's too close to management and leadership that's main mission is taking care of themselves. And that's what we're running to change. We want to change that mindset. So I'm just reading a few comments here, just trying to keep up. And but the one thing about the mindset I really find interesting, I'm a big sports fanatic. I always have been. I played a lot of sports when I was younger. But those of you that don't know, like the history of Indiana University football, it's not been a proud, strong powerhouse football program, but it's probably 4 or 5 years ago, they hired a new coach named Tom Allen. And he made a speech, his first meeting he had with the players on the team. It was really interesting that it was about changing the mindset because they had a losing mentality, they had a losing mindset, and they were used to losing. And so he asked his players on his team to write down a list of the games for next season and list which games they thought they would lose and which games they thought they would win. And so the players passed up all these lists, and when he looked at the list, he said, okay, 15 of you said we're going to lose at Ohio State next year. 17 of you said we're going to lose at Michigan, and 10 of you said we're going to lose at Michigan State. So when we go to play those games, just stay home. There's no need for you to get on the bus. And the bottom line, the message behind that was simply that if you already believe we can't win before we ever get in a battle, then we've already lost. And that's the mentality that we seem to keep getting fed from our top leaders. We have to go into this aiming for everything we need, everything we want, and that's got to be our mission. But if we're going in there with a mentality of, oh, that's a pipe dream, or we can't do this, we've already lost the damn fight. So we've got to be better. And this, bottom line, this is our generation, as I've said this before, it's our defining moment, and it's our one shot to change the culture and get our union back to an organization that sets the standard rather than the model that aims low and settles lower. We've lost respect everywhere, whether it's with politicians, whether it's with other unions. We can't have this mentality of, we're the UAW, worship us, and if, you're OPIU or you're this union or that union, well, you don't really matter. I mean, we have totally lost that standing, and we've got to get it back. As I've said earlier, sorry, I need some water. I'm just reading a few comments here. But so like I said earlier, it's a new year, and by electing our Members United slate candidates, there's going to be a new way of doing business in the UAW. No more company union philosophy. No matter what sector you're in, the members we represent, they're all part of the most productive workforce in the world. The United States has the most productive workforce in the world. And when times were tough, our workers and our retirees sacrificed. So, with a decade of extremely high profits, the companies have enjoyed all this. Our workers and our retirees deserve better than what they've got. Bottom line, they deserve better than more plant closings. They deserve better than more plant idlings. They deserve better than joint ventures for EV, where the companies are basically doing this by design to circumvent our master agreements and their obligation to our members' job security. Our workers, such as those at Case New Holland, they deserve better than having to go on strike for over 8 months just because they are asking for a fair share of CNH's massive profits that were created by their hard work. Look at our brothers and sisters at Oshkosh. They deserve better. They went out and they lobbied our government to get help in securing future postal vehicles, only to have the company screw them over and move the product, to a non-union factory in a state that doesn't support union labor. Again, it circumvents the contract and circumvents the obligation to the members. Our higher ed members, they deserve a hell of a lot better than having to live in their vehicles because they can't afford rent. Members of HarperCollins, they've been on strike the last 40 days. They deserve better. New York Times have been very profitable. All these places have been profitable. Our salary bargaining unit members, they deserve a hell of a lot better. They've continually been attacked, the erosion of their jobs, and the bottom line is they've always delivered. So it's a shame that these companies, this is what they do. And this is why we have to get leadership in there that's willing to fight and take on this battle. Just reading a few more comments here real quick. Yeah, definitely agree. We need to take the thumb off international appointed people so they don't fear speaking in their minds. And that's a big problem. I mean, it's all about control. The top leadership of this union, it's always been our whole lifetimes about power and control. And they want all the power and all the control over the membership and over all these appointed people. And it's why this system has to be turned upside down. We have to get back to leaders that are going to listen. We're going to engage members, and we're going to allow people to speak their mind. We need everybody speaking their mind if we're going to have success. The bottom line, reading through a lot of this too, I mean, these companies, these businesses, they owe our members and our retirees for all the sacrifice and the work, because that's what's led to all these massive profits they've enjoyed for the last 10 years. So bottom line to me, it's time we put corporate America on notice that our members deserve their fair share of the pie, and we're coming for it. The one-sided affair of company unionism, it's dead. So, now the good thing is the membership gets to decide who our top leaders are going to be. For the first time in our lifetimes, we get to hold our top leaders accountable. I don't have any issue with that. If I don't deliver and I don't do the job, or we don't do the job as a group, then you know what? You have every right, and you should always have every right to get rid of us. We've never had that right before. The top leadership's always been a foregone conclusion because they handpick who they want and they control it through the convention. My experience, I served 5 terms as a committeeman and shop chair at my plant. I never had a problem being held accountable and never had a problem running for election. If you take care of the people and you do your job, they take care of you. I don't forget where I come from. I don't forget my early years. I'll tell you, it's a thing I think a lot of times because there's been such a separation between people in leadership at the national level and the local level. I don't forget where I come from. I mean, and I've been in everyone's shoes. I mean, the bottom line, when I was in my apprenticeship in construction and before that, I mean, I know what it is to not have a job. I know when I was in my apprenticeship, going through it, making $6 an hour when I started out, during layoff after layoff, where all you got was $80 a week in unemployment, which couldn't afford to pay your rent. I've been on WIC. Government aid to get formula and diapers for my firstborn daughter. I lived off peanut butter sandwiches for lunch every day when I was in construction. As a single parent, raising two daughters, I don't forget living paycheck to paycheck and doing the best I could to provide for my daughters and my family. And that was the majority of my work life. So we need leadership at the top who understand what it is to live this way, because that's a reality for the majority of our members, and we need to change that. So a lot of that, in the past, all those experiences, they molded my beliefs, they molded my values as a union leader, and those experiences, they fueled a hunger and a passion for a better life, and for everyone. And so, unlike the Curry administration and the past administration caucus, their passion is giving to themselves. Let's just look at what they've done. The bottom line, here recently in the last year, Curry and them pushed pensions, top level pensions for all international staff. Most of our membership, the greater majority of our membership, don't have a pension. There was no excuse for that happening. They pushed massive pay increases for the International Executive Board under this last administration. For the last 3 years, they've done early retirement incentives where they offer $20,000 retirement bonus for anyone that's retirement eligible. And they say it under the guise of they want to reduce staff, but as soon as they do it, they replace all of them. It's not anything about reducing staff. It's just about giving somebody a $20,000 kicker on the way out. And this retirement incentive that the Curry slate came up with, it's been going on for almost 8 months or 9 months. And they did it that way for one reason, because they knew they would coincide with the election. So anyone that didn't win, they could walk out the door with an extra 20 grand on top of everything else they took. So, that's got to stop. That philosophy's got to stop. And the bottom line, while all that's been going on at the same time, we're still hemorrhaging jobs and losing plants. And our members are struggling to get by, basically, especially with the increased cost of living. And so, they're still struggling paycheck to paycheck. Bottom line, you have to ask yourself, can we do better? We all know we can do better, and we have to do better. And it starts now by finishing the mission of electing new leadership that's going to put the power and control of this union back in the hands of the membership. So we have to finish the job by electing myself, Shawn Fain, for president, and Dan Vicente for Region 9 director. Why is that important? The way it stands right now, the majority of control of the International Executive Board, the voting control of the Executive Board, and what course they're going to take and what they're going to do, it will lie with this election. If Curry wins, then the administration caucus will keep that power, and we're going to continue down the same path of more of the same things, And I don't believe we can afford, and I don't believe we'll survive 4 more years of this culture of top-down authoritarian rule. So we have to change it. So it's imperative we get new leadership in here. The interesting thing, and a lot of people have mentioned this already, and I've had tons of messages on Facebook and phone calls about all the crap that's been put out there by some of the Curry slate and their surrogates. The bottom line is they're desperate, and they're desperate for good reason, because they've lost every contested race. Think about that. Every race that's been contested in this election, the administration caucus and the Curry slate have lost. The only people that they've put back in power are the ones that reign unopposed. And so, and they see that, majority of the voters, whether it was the referendum to get one member, one vote, and whether it was this last election, it was typically a 60-40, 62-38 split on people that are opposed to the people that are currently in power. So, bottom line, it's up to us now. It's up to you, the membership, to reject the company union philosophy. But the interesting thing is, out of this desperation of what they've seen, in the last month especially, they've stepped up the fear-mongering, they've stepped up the lies and the spin in hopes of scaring you into believing that only they have the knowledge and only they have the ability to run this union, and that's a load of crap. Everybody knows better. The founders of this union, they weren't perfect politicians. They weren't people that have been in power for years. They were people who gave a damn. And I've said this to probably 3 different vice presidents over the years, talking about people that should be put on staff. The bottom line is, if somebody don't give a damn, they have no business being on staff. And we got a lot of people that don't. So we've got to fix those things. But, here's the interesting thing. Like in the last month, through their surrogates, they've been claiming things like, I've seen a letter where they were threatening retirees, putting fear in retirees that if we're elected, we'll be on the VIVA board and they're going to lose their health care. Those are some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. Retirees are sacred. And, the bottom line is the VIVA board is ran by, yes, we have a seat on that board as an advisory position, but the bottom line is the people that run that money and look at the investments and stuff are professionals at what they do. no matter who the president of this union is or who the VPs are, the bottom line is the retirees are going to be taken care of, and everyone's going to keep that VEBA safe. So that's a load of crap. The other thing, the interesting thing they keep claiming is that if I'm elected and Chuck Browning's elected, which Chuck Browning will be elected vice president. I mean, let's just be real. Tim Bressler and Chuck Browning, there's no comparison. Chuck is the better candidate. Chuck is going to win that race, and Chuck will be the vice president of Ford. If I'm elected, I can guarantee you that's going to be his assignment. It would be stupid for anyone not to have him over Ford. But it's just fear-mongering and it's stupidity. And that's why they have their surrogates out there bashing that, beating that drum, saying that, you know, Chuck's going to get Chrysler or something. It's some of the dumbest crap I've ever heard. So, you know, those things I want to be clear about. Something else I was trying to look to. Yeah, another thing I read here recently, you know, they're saying that if we're elected, you know, there's plants that need product right now, and they're not going to get product if we get elected. Well, you know what? To those people buying that crap, I'll just say this, look around. For the 2 years Curry has been in power and Chuck Browning's been VP, we're still losing plants. I don't know where they're getting this hype about things are going to be different if we get in. That's what's going on now, and it's what's been going on for years. Talk to people at Belvedere Assembly Plant about their jobs right now. Talk to people at Romeo Engine Plant whose plant was closed. Talk to people at Trenton Engine who are losing the North Plant now. Talk to people at Toledo Machining who keep losing work. You know, bottom line, many of these people lost their plants or they're losing a majority of their work, and it's the same continued culture of losing jobs with no action. Not a damn bit of action was taken on any of these things. So to sit there and put that fear out there that if we get elected, plants that don't have work are in danger, you're in danger now. And you're in danger because this current leadership won't take action. Our futures are in danger strictly. Look at the EV solution in that situation. I mean, billions and billions of dollars are being invested in EV, and most of that is not being invested in agreements that are covered under our master agreement, and it's not being invested where our members have rights to those jobs. So if we go that route, you know, we're screwed, bottom line. And it's because our leadership didn't jump on and take action when the first joint venture was announced. It's a huge failure on their part. So for them to sit here and tell you and make you want to fear new leadership, that's the last thing you have to fear. What you have to fear is the current leadership. So, you know, another thing, they keep beating a dead horse, you know, saying it's ridiculous that only 106,000 members voted or only 10% of our membership voted in the recent election. Well, you know, they're trying to convince you basically that we need to return back to a convention system of election. Well, let me be real clear about that. With a convention system of election, if we have 1,000 delegates, which is basically 1% of our membership, that's who's electing our top leaders. And the IEB already knows, and we already know, we've seen it forever. The bottom line, the IEB knows if they go back to a convention system of elections, they control the outcome. So I would much rather have 10% of our membership electing our top leadership than 1%. So anybody that peddles that crap to you, you know, you can tell them where to stick that. All this, bottom line, it's bullshit and it's fear-mongering. And they do it for one reason. They do it because they want to make you afraid of change, and that's what they do best. So don't buy it. We've got to be better than this, and we've got to move forward. You know, so for those of you that don't know, I mean, let me make it real clear what our UAW Members United slate has stood for through our campaign. I mean, we stand for equality among our workers. We stand for eliminating tiers. Our retirees are sacred to us. We understand they haven't seen anything in 15 years, and there's no excuse for it. You know, we believe all workers deserve pensions. We believe our workers and retirees deserve cost of living. We believe, you know, that companies have an obligation to the job security of our members, to our workers who bust their asses so they can enjoy those profits. We believe bargaining should be transparent and it should be planned with an informed membership, not dictated from the top down. You know, so we stand for ending company unionism. So, you know, if you're ready for change and to change this culture of our union and put power and the control of this union back in the hands of the membership, then you need to vote for Shawn Fain for president and for Dan Vicente for Region 9 director. And we're gonna be well on our way. We're gonna hit the ground running. You know, if you want to settle for more of the same, a culture of company unionism and an aim low and settle lower philosophy, then vote for the Curry Solidarity candidates that are left and give them majority control of the executive board and watch what happens. You know, the proof of their priorities, it's in the body of the work. It's been taking care of themselves first, and the membership continues to suffer. So don't forget that. And the other thing you need to remember, when you go to mark that ballot, I say this every time, and I want to keep reminding you of this. Remember when you mark that ballot that Ray Curry and anyone on his slate does not want you to have the right to cast that ballot because they want that convention system so they can control the outcome. So when you go mark that ballot, think about that. I'm 100% for you marking that ballot. I have always been for one member, one vote, and I'll be for it for the rest of my life. And if I'm elected, you can damn sure and well be secure that it ain't going to change. So, once again, just want to say Happy New Year. And with this new year, it's our time now. We got to finish this mission. We got to elect new leadership and take this union back. So I'm going to look through a few comments here. There's been quite a few. Eldon, Ray Curry was his director. He was a joke. Worked under 7 different directors. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not telling people what they want to hear, brother, so I don't know where you're getting at, but bottom line, I mean, I've been in the fight and going to continue to do that. Thanks for your comment, Spanky. Yeah, another comment. Yeah, it was true. I mean, when I was on the plant floor, I had no problem taking on the IAB in person or handbills, and I mean that's a fact. I mean, so it's we've lived it. Several of us were anti-ratification in '07, and that's what we see. I mean, you look at we have to change how we bargain. And when I say those things about it's a top-down philosophy, I mean people want to point at negotiators and stuff, and negotiators have, they have power, but the bottom line is when you get into that national bargaining, there is an immense amount of pressure applied from the vice presidents and the top office to the president. And I mean, I've seen 2 times, national bargaining committees unanimously initially say they're rejecting a tentative agreement. And within a day, the president and the vice president, they go to work on them. And they intimidate the hell out of them. They put fear in them. In 2019, President Gamble actually told the bargaining committee when they were unanimously against the agreement that he didn't need them anymore. They could all go back to their plants, and one of them did. And but they put a lot of pressure on these guys and these men and women, and they end up getting what they want. So, and that's not an excuse. That's just reality, and it's got to change. It should not be that way. If you come out with a tentative agreement as a president or VP, first off, it shouldn't just be your agreement. It should be everyone involved in it. But the bottom line, if you go behind closed doors and have to finish something, so be it. But when you come back and the entire committee says they're opposed to it, the response shouldn't be, we'll take it from here. The response should be, okay, what do we got to do to fix this? And that's, in my opinion, why under Curry, we've had 3 contracts that were rejected at Volvo, and 2 contracts were rejected at Deere, and we've got to be better. So that's where we got to go with this. Yeah, I see this comment. Curry and Harris waited 3 years after the announcement of Romeo Engine closing to call a rally to protest, and that's the problem. I mean, we can't wait until after things happen. We can't be a reactive union. We've got to be an in-your-face union that these companies know they're not going to mess with our people. And I really do worry about our situation in the EV because we are falling behind, we are way behind, and if we don't lock this work down under our master agreements, if we don't lock this work down under our sectors, our members don't really have rights to those jobs at that point. So if we do transition from combustible engines and things like that, there's not going to be a landing place for a lot of our members. So we've got to do better, and we can do better everywhere. So we just got to finish it, get done, and I look forward to it. I thank everybody for tuning in on your Friday night, and highly encourage you to watch the debate next week. And ballots will be going out next Thursday. Thank God. It's been a long haul. I mean, it's a shame that it had to be this long for ballots to go out for the runoff. I mean, we're not accustomed to waiting a month and a half for ballots to be mailed out or for to do a runoff election. So, it's time. I mean, it's crunch time. So everyone that voted, I hope you get back out and vote again, and let's take this union back. That's what it's all about. So appreciate everybody getting on, and let's get this thing done. Thanks a lot.